to accord our will to his, and to do what we can to contribute to the best outcome. When Christian people and professed people of faith and all these so-called leaders start to act that way and stop calculating and stop trying to bargain for their seat at the table, then I think we're going to see a result that leaves room for God's power and miracles.
That's well said. It's hard to get a word in because every word you say is just very, very valuable. Some folks want to talk with you, though, and ask you some questions.
Sure.
And let's let them do that. The number to join them is 800-733-9829. Let's go first to Frank in Missouri. Hey, Frank, welcome.
Hi. Dr. Keyes, I've enjoyed hearing you speak in person and on the radio for many years now. I have a question that's been bothering me, and you've kind of brought it to a head here. If, after having done all we can in the primaries and supporting a Christian candidate, and we finally come to Hillary Clinton versus Rudy Giuliani or Mitt Romney, do we vote for the lesser of two evils at that point or not vote?
Of course not. Let me ask you a question, or I'll ask all people of Christian conscience out there. You're down to your last crust of bread. And the only way that you can get some money to feed yourself is to go out and commit murder or make a pornographic movie. Do you do it?
Of course not.
Of course not. You'd rather die. That's something we've forgotten as Christian people. We think this is some kind of game, and we get to choose our comfort. Christ died on the cross.
Right? With all due respect, though, Doctor.
And that means that, well, let me finish, though, because the thought that I'm expressing is very simple. You follow what is right, and you leave the rest to God. We're faithless people, because we think that only by our acting and the choices human beings make will things turn out one way or another. It's by God's will. It may be God's will to save America, but let me ask you a question. What if it's not? If it's not God's will that this country, which has offended deeply, by the way, the blood of the innocents cries out from the ground of America. By the tens of millions it cries. We are a people guilty of grave wickedness. And if God's judgment is coming against us, we can see why. But the question is, if he has a will to save the country, it will be saved. If he doesn't, it won't. But where should we stand? Should we stand trying to save it when he doesn't want to? Or should we stand trying to do what's right?
Ambassador Alan Keyes is our guest. Frank, hang on. We'll be right back. In Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Hey, Jeremy.
Hey, I'm just calling to ask, why are we so afraid of a Clinton White House? I mean, isn't helping the poor, providing health care for the poor, a Christian value? And won't that help reduce the number of abortions? I mean, criminalizing abortion isn't the only way to be pro-life.
Well, let me ask you a question, though, because I think sometimes people misunderstand the meaning of Christian charity. And they think that Christian charity means helping people take care of their bodies. Is that what it means? So that if we make everybody comfortable in a physical way, we've achieved a charitable result. That's actually not Christian charity. Christian charity is to show true love for another. And that means that you share the truth of God and our salvation by Jesus Christ with everyone. And doing good deeds, works of corporal mercy, as they are called, must be in the service of spreading that gospel by the example of our love. But the example of our love is not intended to produce a material result, but to open the heart to a spiritual reality. So the mere fact that somebody is helping take care of people's bodies does not help if in other respects they stand for lies that deny the existence of God, that deny the justice of God, that deny the authority of God, that deny our salvation through God's love in Jesus Christ. If people are behaving in a way that contradicts the fundamental tenets of God's will as revealed through his scripture and his law in our nature, then it doesn't matter if they're out saving people's bodies. They're destroying their true lives. And that's, unhappily, the position in which the Democrats now find themselves. They put on the mask of compassion and concern, and meanwhile they adopt policy steps that have, through the destruction of our moral fiber, utterly destroyed the capacity of people to do for and take care of themselves. That has destroyed family structure. They are now standing for homosexual marriage and other things that will, again, assault the sense of obligation and responsibility that must be at the heart and basis of family life. So pretending all kinds of good deeds for people, they actually champion those principles of moral evil that will destroy them and destroy our society along with them. So no, I don't think that proves anything, because then you're willing to take the trade-offs they offer. They'll take care of our bodies so long as we destroy both our own souls and that of our nation. And Christ warned us against accepting that bargain. There ain't nothing Christian about it.
Jeremy, I'm going to give you one quick follow-up.
Okay, aren't Republicans susceptible to the same judgment that by wanting to criminalize abortion but not reduce the amount of abortions in the meat? I mean, aren't they susceptible to the same judgment?
Well, I don't understand what you mean when you say they have criminalized abortion. God criminalized abortion. The same God who gave us our inalienable rights. We are endowed by our Creator with certain unalienable rights, among them life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. That's God's dictate. And if you say that it's okay to disregard God's commandment with respect to life and the right that flows from His will with respect to life when it comes to the child in the womb, why not when it comes to your life? Why not disregard His authority with respect to other unalienable rights, including those that require government by consent and due process in courts of law? If God's authority means nothing when it comes to the life of that child in the womb, then why does it mean anything when it comes to any of our other claims to rights and decency? This is the problem. You talk as if it's some arbitrary decision on the part of Republicans. No. The principle on which our whole way of life is based contradicts the so-called right to abortion. So we can either have that right, or we can abandon the principle of our country, or we can hold on to the country's principle. I'm not saying that. Republicans aren't saying that. That's a logical fact. And in order to deal with it, you have to tell me I'm wrong, that the country does not, in fact, require that we respect these basic and inalienable rights, that they are fictions invented by human will, and that when human beings change their minds, those rights disappear. But if that's the case with the child in the womb, then I suppose it's the case with people we want to enslave, too. So we can turn our backs on that, and if we get enough people behind us, we could restore slavery, and we wouldn't any longer have the argument that it was a contradiction of the most fundamental God-given right to enslave other human beings. See, you can't have it all ways. And what we're doing right now, we want to preserve rights insofar as we get to exercise them, but then we want to disregard them when it's convenient for us and when we want to have abortions and other stuff. You can't do it that way. The principle is either true or it's not. And if it's true, then it restricts our conduct, and we ought to respect it.
Glad you called, Jeremy. Let's go to Dale, who's on a cell phone in West Virginia. How you listening to us, Dale?
Listening to you on 94.5 in Ohio.
Oh, great.
Anyhow, my comment for Ambassador Keith is I am driving down the highway laughing and pounding the steering wheel and rejoicing because no one else is saying these things. The Christians in this country have been deceived into thinking they have to bargain away what's true and what's right and play the game. And I'm going to hang up after my comment, but I am rejoicing to hear someone telling the truth. Thank you, Dr. Keith.
Well, thank you. Appreciate it.
Appreciate the call, Dale. 800-733-9829. Got some open lines. Let's go next to Ron in Cashton, Wisconsin. Hey, Ron.
Yes. I have two comments for Mr. Keys. Are you on?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yes. One is, I don't think we can ever hope to have the perfect president in office, whether he be a devout Christian or a non-Christian. Moses was a man of God's choosing. He failed. David, a man after God's heart, he failed. And I think we're sometimes asking for a perfect person for office. I'd like his comments on that. And then my second point is, it's absurd to me to think that a Christian, even though he may be devout and very capable, could run for the presidency if he's never had any other office and proven himself. I think we need to start encouraging good people, good Christians, to run for lower offices and get into politics and establish a reputation and do something at whatever level, and then maybe they'll work up to the possibility of
Appreciate it.
Please go